So there's a new movie about an immigrant from the planet Krypton. You might have heard of it. It's called Superman. So director James Gunn, he told the Times of London that at its heart, the blockbuster is, quote, the story of America, an immigrant that came from other places and populated the country. I don't think Superman, did he populate the country? Anyway, conservative pundits are calling it, quote, super woke, and it's another case of Hollywood imposing liberal values on moviegoers. So what do we think about this idea? Is it fair to brand this movie as political?
Well, what do you think? I actually think it is fair because the director himself, in an interview with the Times, he said, yes, it's about politics. Apparently, I haven't seen it, but there's a 10-minute scene where Clark Kent and Lois Lane discuss geopolitics, and they disagree, and they're fighting, and they're going back and forth. And I guess the point of that is that they don't cancel each other, quote unquote, so to speak, but they learn, and it's okay to disagree. I don't see what the big. If that's political, then yeah.
Depends who you're talking about. Listen, this conversation we wouldn't be having this conversation if Hollywood wasn't just guilty of always putting out the same movie every single year. If I see one more Spider-Man, one more Batman, one more Superman, to me it's like, yeah, you know what? Let's just have some creativity. Everybody's moving to LA to become a star. Let's use some of those other scripts and do something else. And then we can skip this whole conversation, or have a movie that's really about politics and have art imitate life.
Yeah. I mean, but so many movies are about, like, the best movies that we love, like, have a political undertone. At least for me. I think about Get Out having a, an under, because there's a story within a story telling truths about the world. And so I actually did, naively, I didn't think of Superman as political, super political, but in fact, the history of it is. Like, there actually is a story that was in an article attached to this, that back around 1940, one of Adolf Hitler's elite SS guards, he denounced the comic strip, again, remembering that this started as a comic strip, because of the co-creators, the co-creators were both Jewish, in fact. And also, one of the co-creators, Jerry Siegel, in 1981, he explicitly said that Superman's creation was in reaction to the rise of fascism around the world. So it, like, literally is. Inherently.
Yes.
And then you think about this past weekend, did anyone see that image of Donald Trump? Did you guys see this? Of him on this? And then you just are like, I know, right? It is so embarrassing, and it is so cringy.
It was, can you clarify? This was released by the White House.
The official, social media.
And it just seems so rich, where he obviously...
He wishes he had those abs.
I mean, he wishes so much. Right? But I don't think for all those reasons you can't separate the politics, and I don't think we should.
But isn't that okay? Like, maybe it's less about whether Superman should be political and more about this conversation we're having, whether you agree with the politics. Because I think that's fair. Like, if people don't agree with the politics of human kindness, then don't go see the movie. You know,
I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because I agree. I think the entire history of, if you actually look at probably most superhero storylines, no movie or comic strip or probably most art, it's not happening in a vacuum.
Yeah, exactly.
These artists are creating these stories and these characters probably in relation to what's happening in the world around them. And if you take a look at the very first Superman movie in 1978, this is post-Watergate era. This is where a lot of Americans were really questioning their institutions, what's real, what's not, who can you trust? All of our politicians are corrupt. And so Superman came forward and what were his virtues? Kindness, and empathy, and doing the right thing. It's very now, has that become political? Has that become political? It has, because you now have this Superman movie in the Trump era, and the whole thing that they're questioning again in this film is, where is the kindness? And what is this happening? In the States, they are disappearing Latino men off the streets. There are ICE raids that are happening. They are taking away Medicare. They are, it's horrific almost to see what's happening there. So the question is, where is the kindness? The fact that that's a political statement tells me how broken America is.
The fact that Trump thinks of himself as
And what's really broken is the fact that we are talking about a fictitious character in a leotard with a cape, instead of talking about those brown men who are being displaced and put in ICE, gathered by ICE raids and being thrown in countries that they actually have no business being in because they're not from there. That should be the discussion. That's where everybody should be fired up. Not talking about Superman. Let's move on.
Hey, you, come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.